view and is a sumo arena where you play as a crab and try to push the other vegetables off of the stage before they push you off the stage. So Joe's going to talk more about that.
So, our week one, we came up with a prototype. We had Jamie draw up a concept for the map, and we had Ito program just basic shapes to get our idea across. And what that idea was we'd push these little squares off the map, and they would despawn. That was the base mechanic. We used a wind region to push these little physics objects off, and we wanted to build from that. So, yeah.
So our entire theme was food-based. We originally wanted our main character to be a chef whose basic enemy was a potato. We later moved beside that and decided to have a crab instead. We then wanted to have two enemies, a carrot and a potato, but we cut the carrot and decided to make the potato a tomato because we thought it'd be more user-friendly and it'd have a better gameplay because of the type of enemy habits that it has. So rather than hopping, it'd be rolling. Yeah, let's jump into it.
As we game, you can see we have a title screen, which is overlaid on the arena. We have some flavor text let's just jump right into the game. So we have the grab, and we have it having 8 directions. As you can see, it's a wave-based game, so when you kill the first enemy, you move on to the next wave. We originally had it pause between waves, but we thought we'll just go from one wave to the other. We want to keep it alive. Very interested. The attack for the grab is a little below effect. As you can see, we made it so like it activates and slows down the player. You see the next enemy, which I think on wave 3 it starts, which is the tomato. So it's a little more complex. It has a little blow up animation, as you can see right there. Also down there, Jamie drew up a little grab referee, which has the score as well as the wave round. In the 3rd and 4th weeks, we added more of a polishing, satisfying feedback features. Like if Alex would go next to the border, then there's a little camera slowdown and time slowdown. And we call that the teetering effect, and it really gives the player more feedback and makes it satisfying. They think, oh, I'm about to die, and then suddenly they save themselves. We also added a death screen, so if Alex would just favor and just die, here you can see a cute little crab animation with a game over screen. And there we go. So, yeah, there's also a victory screen, but I don't know if Alex is skilled enough to get there, but yeah, so.
Yeah. So that was our game. It's been an amazing 4 weeks. This team has worked really hard, and I really appreciate all their hard work. So thank you. We are 2 pairs.
I'm Emery Jandretska for computer engineering. Yeah, I need to do some stuff. Give me a bit. I did the ProjectFUN pre-college computer engineering project. So for my project, I did a Morse code translator. So the way it works is that I have a keypad with the numbers 1 through 9 and then 0, an asterisk, and a number sign connected to a Arduino thing with an LED and a resistor. So when you press a number, the number of times you press it connects to the letter it uses. So if I pressed 1 time, it'd go A. It'd put A. If I press it 2 times, B, 3 times C, and then onwards from 2. Okay, and so, yeah, I have hardware. It was a really simple project hardware-wise, not going to lie. The code was kind of a pain, though, because there were a bunch of functions I had to put for all the Morse code, all the functions and the letters. Yeah, spaces are hard to code. Yeah, there wasn't much to it, not gonna lie. Yeah. Not sure.
No? All right.
Oh.
Well, thank you so much.
Hello, hello, test. Okay, hello. We are Long Name Games. That is our group name. I am Frank Magana. I am a game designer. We have Eric here. He is our artist. Next to him we have Arya, another game designer. And at the end we have Gavin, our programmer. We would definitely not have been able to do anything without him. So we already introduced ourselves. We're going to jump right into the prototype now. Kevin. Here we go. So our game, our game is a single-player, level-based space game. So you are a protagonist ship, and you are running around a square map. You are fighting the enemies. We have 2 different enemy types. We have a basic enemy, which you just saw there, kind of resembles a lobster almost. Those fire at you, and later as you progress, we have another enemy that will run into you and do damage to you as it makes contact with the ship. We also have a second dimension, which can be accessed by pressing space. This can help you evade enemies and gather health in the other dimension. Those are the batteries right there. Already left the pit. Damage, and the other dimension really helps avoiding those guys because they are almost too fast to evade without you getting that. When you're in the other dimension, if you do not escape quick enough, you can see that these red lines lock on you. If you're in the dimension too long, it will eliminate you. So that's this way it makes the game more balanced, and you can't evade the enemies too long because there's not too many other dangers in the other dimension.
Making this game was a whole lot of fun. At the very beginning, we had a bit of a scope problem where we intended on making multiple levels, a lot of enemies, and pretty much the whole package. And then when we realized that we weren't going to be able to do that stuff, we dialed it down, but we still had a whole lot of fun. Gavin had to stay up really late to get all this stuff done. enjoyment, a little bit of stress, a little bit. Dang, you're not dead yet. I died really quickly. Oh, there you go. I'm sorry. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. We are Long Name Games, and this is our game Spatial Void.
I'm Adam Chen, and I'm from the computer engineering class, and this is my final project. It is an autonomous car, and what it's used is to, when there are some obstacle in front of it, it will turn around and continue to move. So we just did it in about 1 week. So I think it's a pretty stressful work, but at least I made it. So let's show. So now the car is moving, and it has an ultrasonic sensor in front of it, so it can measure the distance between this car and the obstacle. So when the sensor measure that it is close to the obstacle, it will stop and turn around. So let's see. When it's moving, oh, wait. It's, oh, yeah. So when I put the hand on here, to stop and turn around and continue to move. Yeah. So it's pretty neat. So the wiring kind of stuff is compact and take me a lot of time to do that. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Charles Osberg. I'm Charles Osberg, the team lead for Team Helix, and I'm also the lead mechanics programmer. I know you guys all love PowerPoint slides, and I know that we hate you, so we're going to make this really short.
Hi, I'm Easton Williams. I am the main designer for the game, and I also was the main level designer as well. I designed the various waves and how the enemies, well, like, fired.
Hello, I'm Sam Stahl. I am the lead UX programmer, stands for user experience, and I'm also the lead music composer.
Hi, I'm Dottie Johnson. I am the lead artist and art designer of this game.
So we figured instead of having a long slide describing everything we had in our game before showing it, we just get right to the point and boot it up. So Dottie is going to describe our main menu as soon as we start open it.
So basically, the process of designing this whole thing was very long and grueling, but with a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and mostly tears, we made it. And so the menu is you can get straight into the game if you're an experienced player, because we wanted it to be pick up and play. But we've also offered a tutorial for those players who are unfamiliar with it and want to be. So yeah, and here's Easton talking about this.
All right, so this is our game itself. As you can see, it is a bullet hell wave shooter where various enemies will move in from the side and the player has to dispose of them one by one to progress to the next wave. And your goal is to get as many points as possible before you lose all your lives at the top and get a game over. As you can see, we have 4 different enemies. We start with 2 just so the player can get accustomed to it. There is the green ones fire 3 shots rapidly. The red ones track very slowly. And later on, we'll get to shotgun enemies and enemies that fire very rapidly at the player. The player also has 3 weapons at their disposal. There's the grenade launcher, which will fire out a flurry of bullets, but also if it lands on an enemy, it does an insta-kill. We also have a 3rd gun that is an auto lock-on, and this is made for players who want to focus on dodging instead of just dodging and firing. So that way, even if you're not that great at the game, you can still learn and train and get better.
All right. As you go through the game, the waves will get progressively harder, and throughout the game, there are scattered a few boss waves. These boss waves contain one enemy that is considerably larger than the rest, and as you try to keep killing it because it's going to have more health, it will have attacks that are going to be doing considerably more. Oh, yes. Also, there is another mechanic that you might have seen pop up occasionally as he was playing. It's called near miss. If you go near a bullet, but you don't actually hit the bullet, it will give you a nice point bonus, and the game will congratulate you when you do so. As well, there are about 30 or so waves in the game right now, and it is very difficult to get through it. As you can see, this is one of the boss waves. This first one does not have many phases, but there are many bullets to dodge, and is quite an experience. However, right now we are kind of low on health, so it's probably likely that we may not live much longer, even if we did get a health pickup. Welp, and now we are dead. This is our game over screen. You can see some of your stats. You can go back to the main menu if you wish. If you get the reference for the picture, then major props to you.
And also, you didn't really see it in the main game, but that was our main character, Annie Mae. So just a little side note, that's her character design. So yeah, designed by Dottie.
Thank you for listening.
Is this working? Okay. Hello, everyone. For my project, I worked on a remote-controlled Devastator tank, and I technically didn't get to the remote control part, so it's just a controlled tank. And so it is a tank, of course, and it contains 2 breadboards for the control of the actual tank and the controller. And let's see if I can get this wired up real quick. So as you can see, I can turn it right and left, and there's also gears of speed, whether it's going forwards and backwards. See if I can keep it from falling off the edge here. Yeah. So it moves around fairly well. And in the process of making it, I had a few problems. There used to be actually a speed dial, but the readings from that weren't accurate. So I had to change over to the gear system. And I believe that is it.
Okay. Hi guys, I'm Skylar Subunmi. I was the lead game designer and graphics.
I'm Amani. I am one of the programmers of this game.
I'm Nikolai. I'm also one of the programmers.
I'm Indigo, and I was the artist.
All right. We're Team Tim, and this is Tokyo Torch, Monster Mayhem. Let's just get right into it.
Okay, so hope this opens up first time. We've had problems with that in the past. But in our game, as you'll see, we have 3 main enemy types. We have the Snatcher. He will show up in a second. He is green. He runs towards the player very quickly and attempts to damage them. Then in future waves, we have the Cannoneer. He is red and attempts to maintain a certain distance from the player. So if you are far away, he will run towards you. If you're too close, he'll run away to maintain an ideal range for shooting you. Then we also have a third enemy called the Bogger. He's a little bigger, a bit slower, but he moves towards you and will blow up. He also damages the enemies when they blow up, so you can use him to your advantage. And occasionally he will drop health for the player, which is based off of how much health the player currently has to make the game more fair.
Alright, so for player abilities, the player has 5 abilities to use, 3 basic attacks, 1 single shot, 1 shotgun ability, and then 1 mega ball that shoots through enemies and through objects. And then you also have 2 super abilities, the barrier, which blocks enemy bullets and enemies, and then the magma ability, which slows down enemies when they walk into it.
Alright, so for the art, we chose to do pixel art because it was quick, and that's what we needed in the short amount of time that we had. So, pretty much for I think the main character, we got a design for him. I think it was the second day that we were a team. So yeah, that was pretty fun. I don't know, it all just kind of came together nice. I don't know.
So the player, with a combination of these abilities, can defeat wave after wave, getting to the end of the game. But twist is, there is no end. It's endless. The goal here is to get the highest score you can before dying. You get your score displayed here. You can take a screenshot if you want. It's pretty cool. Otherwise, we're Team Tim, and this has been Tokyo Torch, Monster Mayhem.
All right, so I'm Eric Onsauger, and I did the computer engineering course, and for my final project, I made a calculator. So basically, under it all, I have 16 buttons in total, which read my numbers and the functions I put into the calculator. It looks complicated, but every button is basically connected the same way, so it wasn't that difficult to actually put down. And for my display, I have a 4-digit, 7-segment display, which will let me display any number from 0 to 9. It can display a total of 4 digits, and it can also do negative digits. And finally, I programmed it to write decimal places. And where all the code is on the Arduino, and cables to my breadboards. So that's a complicated schematic for it all. But basically, the buttons are connected to ground power into the Arduino, and my display is connected the same way. And here's a timeline that I basically did in my entire project. But while you read that, I'll talk to you about the code. Basically, the calculator reads inputs, then it matches it with a function. It reads a second input, and then it outputs the final answer. And in doing so, you can also add a second answer afterwards. So if I input 2 plus 3, it'll output 5. Then I can also add 7 to that and get a new number. And here's a little example just of the different decimals that it can display. So since the 2 digits in the the colon in the center is wired together, it displays both the top and the bottom. But basically, that's 114.0, that's 14.00, negative 6.00, negative 46.0, and negative 246. And okay, I had a video here for use of the calculator, but since the PowerPoint didn't work, I had to do slides, and it doesn't run videos very well. But basically, it just runs all basic plus, minus, division, multiplication, equals, and clear functions, and that's it. It's a calculator.
Hello, we are Team Richard, and this is our game called Richard in Space. So my name's Andrew Benamity. I did the UI, some art, and a little bit of gameplay.
I'm Robbie Yingling. I did all of the programming, a good bit of the art.
And I'm Victor Jabelli. I did some of the sound as well as some of the art.
All right, with that, we're gonna jump straight into our game.
This is our game. As you can see, it is a kind of twin-stick shooter game where you go around and you try to shoot these alien guys. They like swarming around you and moving around in kind of random directions, but generally towards you. You have 3 lives, so you don't want to lose those. You can use your right-click ability. There's a right-click ability that is really powerful in part of the game. It wasn't used there, but it's in there. It's in there. That was it right there. Did a lot of damage. It plays that exquisite noise whenever you take damage. Play the tutorial. That's a high score. Hello, you may use space to skip a text box in this tutorial. Welcome to Richard in Space. This is Richard. The goal of the game is to last at least 60 seconds. You can also try to survive as long as possible to get a higher score. Your tools to defend yourselves are bullets that destroy enemy bugs. You can left-click to fire one shot and right-click to fire a spread of shots. Here come some enemies now. Use your bullets to defeat them. They're behind you, Victor. In the actual game, when you run into an enemy, you will lose 1 life. When you lose all 3 of the lives, you lose. Unless you have survived at least 30 seconds, and you win. I meant 60. He's now playing the impossible mode. Let's see how his score of 7 seconds converts over. Wow, he's already beat his time. You're a lot more powerful, and they're a lot more powerful in the impossible mode. Victor, let me show you. First, I will try to complete the easy mode. Victor.
Hello.
As you can see, we have some very intense gameplay. Why don't you try impossible mode, see how long you can get. That was Richard in Space. Thank you for your time.
Hello, my name is William Huang, and I made a Pong clock. Well, but technically it's not a Pong clock because although my original design was to make the LED display screen to play Pong while displaying the time, but due to the time limit, I wasn't able to achieve the pawn part, so I made basically a clock. So next slide. Although it seems like the schematic seems very hard, but basically there are only 3 parts. So you have the Arduino, which is processing the singles. You have 2 Shure Electronics 24 by 16 LED display, and you have a DS1307 RTC, which stands for real-time clock. So that's the RTC is basically what's counting the time, even though sometimes when you turn off the screen, it's still counting. Yeah, and I'm gonna. And the functionality. Sorry, and the functionality. It tells time. It's pretty self-explanatory. So I'm gonna show you how it works. Hold on. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Oh, why does it move? Oh, that came off. That makes sense. So as you can see, there's some connection problems, but basically it says it's Friday. It's July the 20th, and you have now it's in the afternoon, 3:16 and 22 seconds. So there's that. Next slide. Oh, development timeline. I have a lot to say about this. So basically, last Monday, I believe, it's when we started to brainstorm like what we need to do for our individual projects. And by like Tuesday, I'll say, I decided on the Pong clock. But by that time, I just think this idea sounds fun. But I have no idea how it works. So basically, for the entire last week, I was doing like a bunch of research on like what parts is necessary to make a clock and how does a clock work. So it turns out it's harder than I thought, because after I ordered the parts, it turns out that the specific to display screen that I bought, there's no library in the Arduino that supports it to light up the LED. So I need to do like I think I did like 2 days or 3 days of researching just to find the correct library. And also like the parts, as mentioned, the parts didn't arrive until this Monday. So although I have a lot of plans and I have finished the wiring design a long time ago, but I wasn't sure like whether my design will work for the actual parts. And yeah, so I was really stressed out last week, but this Monday the parts came and I had to I think on Tuesday I started updated the wiring, because like it just simply doesn't work. And by this Wednesday, I finally found the correct library, and I was able to light up the LED for the first time. And actually, and then the Wednesday I made the RTC works, because I need to, although like it automatically counts for time, but I need to set it to the current time. Otherwise, it will be doing like 1990 or like 2000. So, and yesterday I was trying to modify the code, because because I have no prior knowledge to like all this coding. So I found a sample code online, but that has like a bunch of functions, and it's like 2,600 lines. So yesterday I was trying to simplify it, and finally I was able to simplify it in like I think this is 1,000 line. So there's that. Yeah, thank you.
Hello, my name is Tyler. I was the game designer. This is our game Fracture, and we're Team Indigo Island. This is our artist, Farron Morse, and this is our programmer, who's Kimberly Hilke. Yep, there you go. And so what is Fracture? Fracture is an oblique projection shooter where you run a lot of along a grid in a cyberspace as you shoot, and incoming robot enemies. And Farron has more about to say about that.
Hello! Let's get the demo running. So, Fracture, that's been our 4-week project here at DigiPen, which, by the way, really fun. You totally go here if you were old enough, or not too old. This is our game. So, once you can see that we have an animated title screen, all the buttons lighting up, which took a bit harder to program than it should have. Thank you, Garrett. When you open the game, you're going to see yourself in level. So, there's a nice particle effect that appears when you open the game. So, you shoot these robots. Those robots are what I would call the electrobo. When it touches you, you will lose health because it electrocutes you. And our main character here, you'll notice that there's a little floaty thing around us. When all the bullets come out of them is our orbite. Our little friend robot. Well, not so good. But makes them disintegrate because we are in cyberspace. A second enemy, which you might see shooting all these red bullets at you, which is our boombot. In this level, you will see that it is stationary, it does not move around the map at all. This will change when you enter the 3rd level. Oh, yeah, right there, that was a health pack. You get it? You get health. Pretty self-explanatory. Music in this game. I don't know what happened to it. But you'll notice our death screen failure.exe was not found. I guess you can tell where that joke comes from.
Yeah, so the idea for the names mostly came from a lot of inspiration. I like to thank my dad for some inspiration for the game. For part of the game, like Orbite came from him. Also, thank you to everyone who helped us out on this project. We have a little credits menu. And that's our game. Thank you very much for listening.
Testing. I'm just very quiet. Okay. Hey everybody, we are Team Nomads. I'm Davin Redfern.
I am Bruce McCubbin.
I'm Bryce Maurice.
And I'm Tristan Easton.
Now we are going to show you our game. So, our game is called Tank Quest, and what Tank Quest is a two-player split-screen game where the goal is to defeat evil Doombas. So this game takes place in a living room, and you have command of a toy tank. Now, you will see Legos around that you can use as barriers to trap enemies and to dodge bullets. And there's also a couch and a table with a TV on it that you can maneuver under, and it fades out so you can see where you are under the couch or the table when you are there. And up at the top, we have health bars that are in the form of a battery because you're a toy tank. And we have the enemy's left count. So the goal of this game is to defeat the number of enemies that are left faster than your opponent. And what happens when somebody wins is this comes up and you can hit A or enter, depending on if you're on keyboard or a controller, and it'll reset the map. And whoever wins has a crown. This game has two enemy types. It has the melee enemy type, which are the larger ones that you see running at you, and it has ranged enemies that shoot at you. Something you can do with the ranged enemies is if you get your timing right, you can actually shoot their bullets out of the air and use that as a sort of block. Now, when you die, you start to flash. When you are dead, you can no longer shoot, but you can still move. Why you can no longer shoot is so that you can't be invincible and still kill enemies.
We can't have it being too overpowered. So, if the red player wins, the crown will eventually switch over to the red player. Here, so then, and they're quite short games, as we can see. Yeah, it takes a bit longer on controller because on keyboard, because keyboard controls are a bit harder to work with for our game. And but the enemies, Bruce basically covered most of the things. There's sound in it. Can't really hear the sound. There's sound in the main menu as well. So, red tank won. If we press play, as you can see, crown switches over. So, top one.
So another feature of this game is it has a fair bit of replayability because not only can you just keep going to see who can win longer or who can keep the crown, but also the barriers change every match. The way we have the barriers is it randomly spawns them at a random rotation. And why this is nice is it means you're not just having the same map over and over, so you can learn nice barrier spots where you can just use them as pinch points, but you can continue to play and have it so that it's different every round. So we are Team Nomads, and that was our game, Tank Quest.
We are Team Deep Sea, and this is our game, Abyssal Assault. I'm Mitchell Spinell. I'm the game designer.
I'm Philandra Ergel, and I am the game artist.
I'm Etienne Bonin, one of the game programmers.
And I'm Corey. I'm also a game programmer.
So we're just going to hop right into the game and show you what it is.
So as you can see here, we have a title screen made by Philander. It's really nice. The basic point of our game is that you navigate as a sub through the deepest underwater trench in the ocean, and your goal is to get as many points as possible. There are 3 different types of enemies, as you see there. There's a jellyfish, which navigates vertically up and down, and there's a lot of them because they're very easy to defeat. You only have to hit them once. And each jellyfish gives 100 points. Anglers, they're a bit bigger and they're faster, and they come at you horizontally. They take 4 shots to defeat, but they give 750 points. And then crabs, they navigate the ceiling and the floor so that you have to go out of your way a bit to take care of them. They take 2 shots and they're worth 1,000 points. One of the main gameplay mechanics you could see is in terms of lighting. As you can imagine, the depths of the ocean are very dark. So we've implemented a mechanic in which at the press of a button you can illuminate the screen. As you can see here, there's like a wide radius, and in the upper right, the lightning bolt signifies how much energy you have. If you let it drain to the bottom, then you have to wait until you can use it again. Throughout the game, also, underneath the middle, you see the score, which is the top number, and then underneath you have the amount of harpoons you have left. If you tap the harpoons and let them, and then let go of the shoot key, you can let them regenerate, and it's more fair. But if you hold on to the shoot and you let it go through, then you have to wait 2 seconds until you could shoot again. So it's kind of a balance between whether you want to hold it and just move around, or if you want to pinpoint your shots and be more precise. And now to talk more about the specific programming and sound design that we chose, here's Corey.
So we programmed the game camera to move sideways slowly. The player can't move out of the camera because there's borders, but the enemies can. The enemies spawn randomly, and over time it gets more difficult, and the jellyfish start to swarm. For different jellyfish, they have different velocities, and it's all random. That's the game over screen. It shows the score after you die. Then go back into the game. So for the light, if you press the light button, it switches between 2 different sprites. So normal, it's only a little light, and if you press the button, it switches to the big light so you can see clear. And then the audio, you can't really hear it now because it's quiet, but we put in background music and sound effects to make it sound deep and mysterious, like you're in an underwater cave. The submarine makes noises when you get hit, and then the menu sounds mechanical when you click buttons. And then Philandra will talk about the art and animation.
Okay, so when we were first coming up with designs for this, we wanted to have a dark and ominous feel. So we made the background and the environment sort of dark. When I was making designs for the water, we all decided to make it green instead of the usual blue waters that you see inside of movies and TV shows. So that way it seems unique, and also it creates that ominous feel as well. When we were making the submarine, we decided to make it orange, that way it stands out against the water and the enemies. We decided to make the jellyfish pink, so that way it complements the background. The anglerfish, we wanted to have sort of this pale sort of color, so that way it seems even more creepy and ominous. And for the crabs, we want it to be a bright blue, so that way it stands out against the other enemies and seems more unique as well. And we originally had more enemies that we wanted to implement, like a kraken and a barracuda, but we decided to not add those, so that way they're easier to program, and also we didn't have enough time in order to add them, and it just would have been too much for the short amount of time we had. And I felt like that we've done really well with this project so far.
Well, thank you everyone for watching our game and our presentation. We are Team Deep Sea, and you could play Abyssal Assault upstairs later. Thank you.
Hello.
We are the Gamer Warriors. I'm Jane, the programmer.
I'm Lucas. I am also a programmer.
I'm Evan Hansen. I'm a game designer and a sound design.
I'm Luca Ravandi. I'm a game designer and I did some of the art as well.
And this is our game, Bottle Breakers.
So this is actually our title screen. So it's the first thing you see. We've got our beautiful logo up there. It says Bottle Breakers. And the little guy down here who's bouncing around is our protagonist. His name is Ollie Orange. And his weapon is a bat. So once we get into our main menu, we have another beautiful title up there, a quick screenshot of how our game looks when it's in the game, and some of these buttons so you can pick when to start, the instructions, credits, go back to the title, and quit game. So we'll take a quick look at the instructions. So it basically just tells you how to play, what power-ups can do, what they look like, some of the enemies, what they can do, what they look like, and of course how to play the game. So I think we're just going to jump right into it, and Lucas is going to talk about it.
So, Bottle Breakers is in essence an arena brawler. Enemies come from the sides of the screen and you need to kill them to survive. Specifically, your health up there is consistently draining and you need to kill enemies to restore it and keep it from hitting 0. If you take damage from an enemy, the rate at which your health increases. You lose health faster. And so you need to use a melee attack and the ability to reflect bullets to survive as long as possible. We have 3 different enemy types. We have purple enemies who run at you and try to ram into you. We have blue enemies who shoot at you and try to stay a specific distance away from you. And we have brown enemies who charge at you and explode and are immune to melee attacks. We also have 2 different types of power-ups. We have a Mento power-up, which when collected destroys all enemies on the screen, and a bandage power-up, which restores your rate of health loss to normal. And I think that mostly covers it.
So I'll just talk a bit about the art and the sound design. So we actually don't have an artist in our group, so we had to make do with what we had. Luca, he came out and actually tried to make some basic concept art designs and created these bottles and the background. And after that, we decided, okay, we like this style, we want to use it. We implemented it to the game and said, okay, we're going to use this as our base kind of art style. So after that, him and I both took it upon ourselves to create the art, and we worked on other things like the bat swing and some of the animations and all sorts of other things in the game. So that was the art. Now the sound design, I'm not sure if you can hear it because you're behind it, but all the music and all the soundtracks are originally created, and they were all created on GarageBand. So that includes the title screen music, the in-game music, and the death game over music. All the glass sound effects that you hear are actually also created firsthand. I actually had to go outside, get a cardboard box, put a rock inside it, put my phone next to it, click record, and smash bottles. It was a fun time. And it was really fun. So actually, this is our game over sequence, a nice little animation, and then it goes right into the death. And we got a nice little soundtrack there for that too. Shows you the points, the time, and kill count. So basically in this game, you got to try last as long as you can, beat your previous score, get as many points. All sorts of bottles cost or give you different points, so you can try to work with that and do your best with that. And I also want to talk a little bit more about the game over screen. So you know the whole sequence you saw? It fades out, puts them in the middle, and then it shows that beautiful little animation. And then it goes right into the game over screen. So our inspiration for that was actually from a Sonic game. And we looked at that and thought, wow, this is amazing. We want to put this in our game. And basically all it was is also a game over screen, a black screen, and a spotlight of Sonic sitting there feeling defeated. We wanted to capture that and also put it into our game. So we wanted that kind of sentimental, oh man, he died, I don't want to let this happen anymore kind of feeling. So I think we captured that quite well. And yeah, this is our game. Yeah.
Hello, we are Team Broken Kong, and this is our game, Tank and Blocks.
I'm Atishaso Patamarangsi. I'm the designer and artist.
I'm Aiden Marshall. I'm the programmer and the sound designer.
I am Benny, third person on the list. I'm a programmer.
And I'm Natzach Mayan, and I'm another programmer.
All right, let's get the game boot up.
So a game, Tank and Box, is a top-down shooter game with puzzle aspect, heavily inspired by Battle City and Boxel.
So we're going to start the game now?
Yeah, now it's time for the game. Let's not boot the wrong one. Okay, perfect. So you see, that was our short title screen of the slide going into tutorial. First of all, we see the main mechanic in this game is pushing boxes into the slots. And the slot turns on, which opens these doors.
The next mechanic we implemented was having a hook to help the player get boxes out of smaller corridors. And we also implemented shooting so the player could shoot it where they're looking to deal with enemies.
We also implemented various power-ups. We implemented a rampage power-up you saw earlier, which increases the amount of bullets you shoot and how fast you shoot. We also just implemented the invincibility power, which of course makes you invincible. And we also have the speed power, which makes you go faster. Oh, right, sound effects. We also have various sound effects in the game. We have player and enemy death, checkpoints, and player shooting sound effects.
We also added checkpoints to a lot of the levels. We noticed during playtesting that people end up dying a lot, and they were annoyed when they had to restart every time. So we added checkpoints. Upon death, the player will will respawn at the last achieved checkpoint and lose a life.
And if you come upon an item like in the left and right corners with a +1 on it, you get an extra life.
Oh, and you might notice that the enemies have different colors. The different color enemies have different shooting mechanics. They shoot differently, and they also have different health. As you see right here, the enemies have way more health than in the tutorial.
We also added those red bricks, which are destroyable blocks, which allow the player to somewhat control the level. Not only that, they have to play with the walls that we give them, but they can try and shape it so that it works better for them.
So yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about our progress in the past 4 weeks. So we originally, first off, our art set was not like this. We had a basic green tank for the enemy, for the player, and it wasn't as detailed. We also didn't have as many enemy types. We have the basic turrets, but we only had one type of tank, and we didn't have as many levels. We only had I think, what was it, two levels? Yeah, we did not have breakable bricks either. So I think in the past 4 weeks we made a lot of progress.
We also, during the past 4 weeks, I would like to reflect on and say what I would do differently. So personally, if I could do this project again, I would choose a slightly different project. I really like how the game turned out. I think it was great. I just feel we are a team of 3 programmers and 1 designer, and our game is kind of more slow-paced. So it put a lot of pressure on our designer, especially because he did all the art for the game too. So I would just like to say thank you so much, Keen. Great job with this game. So I would like to say thank you to all our parents, to the staff here, and to ProjectFUN for an amazing summer. Thank you.
Pretty good, right?
if you could see where they were 2 weeks ago, I mean, it's really phenomenal. So I did have quite a number of parents asking about kind of what's next, what sort of steps. And so I invited Emily, if you want to come down here, Emily, just take a few minutes to explain to you. She's with our admissions and outreach. And she can just explain to you a couple of the things that you might want to think about as you're, kind of wrapping up here today. So thank you.
Hi, everyone. So like Ray said, I work in the Office of Admissions, and I understand that most of you students are rising juniors and seniors, so you may be thinking about applying to colleges soon. If you are feeling like DigiPen may be the right college for you, I definitely encourage you to come and do a student shadow on our campus. That's something you can do anytime. You just need to go to our website. There's a form under Visit DigiPen that you can fill out to request a student shadow. And then our outreach department will pair you up with a student ambassador in the program that you are interested in. You can spend the day with them on campus, go with them to class, go have lunch with them, see their student workspace, and just get a better sense from them about what it's like to be a DigiPen student. Admissions and outreach can tell you all about the admissions process, but we didn't go to college here. So it's great to talk to a student and really get that perspective from them. If you are ready to apply, we operate on a rolling admissions basis, and we are going to open the fall 2019 application on September 4th on our website. So we open a full year prior to the year that you're looking to come in. And you can apply anytime during the year. We evaluate them on a rolling basis as they're coming in. It typically takes about 2 to 4 weeks to get an undergraduate decision. All of the undergraduate admission requirements are on our website. It's basically just online application. Submit your transcripts, SAT or ACT scores. There are essays. They might vary depending on what program you're applying to. And then there are some extra requirements also depending on the program. There are portfolios for some programs. There are math requirements for others. And so I encourage you just to check those out. And I can definitely answer questions about those while I'm here today. And then once you've applied, we'll be in touch with you. We'll kind of walk you through the year, getting you ready to come to DigiPen. And we're definitely here to answer any questions that you have. It's not a trick process. We want to be transparent and make sure that everybody gets all their questions answered. So I would be happy to answer any questions you have now about admissions. Yes. Great. So when the time comes, when you're getting ready to apply, you can just email us at admissions@digipen.edu with any questions. You can come by. We'll talk to walk-in visitors. If you come to a student shadow and want to talk to us in more detail about admissions policies, feel free. We are definitely here to help make it a smooth process for you. All right.
Okay, so just to kind of wrap it up, wanted to kind of hand out a couple of awards. So we'll start with the computer engineering. Definitely the instructor team, I had to force them to make a decision. They really thought everyone put in a tremendous amount of effort. But the one student that they ultimately picked, they felt, had a lot of growth. There was a lot of situations, I guess, where, really had to rise to the occasion, didn't give up. And so with that, I have, I know a lot of you guys don't know what this is. This is called a book. This is a very thick book. It's got really good weight. This book is called Practical Electronics for Inventors, and I would like to award this to Eric. Where are you, Eric? Come on up here. That'll keep you busy for the rest of the summer. A little light reading. For the game project, I invited a UX designer from Turn 10. If you know Turn 10, they are the Microsoft game team that makes a game called Forza. It's a racing game. It's one of their top things, and she was unfortunately unable to stay. She had to get back to her day job. All of you, the game teams, I'm working with John, and we will make sure that you get her feedback about your games. I mean, watching her play and smile as she was playing, I think she really was very much entertained by what you guys produced. And I think she was actually quite pleasantly surprised that high school kids could actually produce something of such quality. So there were, for her also, it was kind of a tough decision. But at the end, she decided that the game that she would pay for was Spatial Void. So if you guys want to come up. Where are you guys? Are you here? Spatial Void, get up here. All right, there you are. So you are each getting a copy of Scott Rogers' Level Up. I understand one of you guys already has this, so we'll talk afterwards. But congratulations. Okay, so again, thank you very much, everybody. Again, you are welcome.